All right, I am going to record the session, just so you know. So just checking sound. Tucker, Barfos, Len, thumbs up if you guys can hear me okay. Awesome. All right, well, welcome everybody to the, believe it or not, 4th annual Backyard BRRR Virtual Challenge. Virtual award ceremony / awards hangout, going over things. I love doing this because it helps me provide some closure to the event. So just like everybody, the start of the new year is pretty busy, right? And I would bet I'm not the only one who got to the end of January and was like, oh my goodness, where the heck did the last 30 days go? Did they go? And I can't believe it's February already. And I looked at the calendar today. I'm like, oh my goodness, it's February 6th. I can't believe it. And so I love seeing everybody and going over all the results and talking about all the amazing things that everyone did over the month of January. But hopefully, if you haven't sort of quite like closed out all the wonderfulness that you did in January, hopefully this will help you do that. My name is Andy Bacon. I'm the race director for EX2 Adventures, and I own our little company. The way this is going to work tonight is I do have a sort of a slide deck that just sort of helps guide the conversation and goes over some of the final results. I'm going to say a couple of things just to start, and then when we get to the homestretch portion, Barfons Baldwin is the executive director from Homestretch. I'm going to ask her to say just a few words about Homestretch. Then we'll go into the results themselves, and none of that. So last couple of years, it's taken around 40 minutes or so. I will try to be brief. Sometimes when I'm passionate about things, I start yapping. And so I'll try to minimize that as best I can, but I cannot promise anything. So I'm going to start with a little history, because I know some people have done this event all 4 years. Some people have, like, this is only their first year. And so if you rewind several years ago, this little thing called COVID happened. And when you're in the event business, or really any business, it rocked everybody's world. They're like, what the heck is going on, right? Well, in the event business, we were like, oh my goodness, what are we going to do, right? We couldn't host in-person races at all. So in May of 2020, we held our first virtual event. I believe it was like the virtual Backyard Burn Challenge or something. Run Sign Up, which is a registration platform, which I had just sort of migrated to not too many months before, had this platform to capture people's activities that they were doing, whether it was running or biking or whatever. And I thought, I'm going to give that a shot. Well, we did it, and we were looking for a nonprofit partner to partner with, and Homestretch was a logical choice because I knew about the organization. I'd done some volunteering in a previous life. But I didn't know how the thing was going to go. Like, it was all new, and it turned out to be a great success. We raised a good amount of money from Homestretch. And what it also was the start, I didn't know it at the time, but it's really the start of something wonderful, which became our charity partner program. So we did one in May of 2020, and I think we did one in the summer of 2020, maybe a Blue Crab Bolt virtual thing. And then January came along, January 2021. And as I was thinking about, the uncertainty that was going to be 2021, whether we're going to have in-person events, like what was going to be allowed, I thought, well, why don't I do some sort of virtual challenge in January? We historically have never had in-person races in January. It's sort of like our quote unquote off season. And I don't know when I thought about the idea, but we've had a popular trail running series called the Backyard Burn, spring and fall, for over 20 years. And so one day I was probably out for a walk or run or something, and it just hit me like Backyard BRRR, and it stuck. And so in January 2021, we had our first Backyard BRRR virtual challenge, and interestingly enough, it was running and walking only. So we didn't have the whole multi-sport, no biking, no whatever. It was just running the first year. And Homestretch was our nonprofit partner. It went off great. It actually was the largest event that EX2 ever had in our 21-year history at that point. And I was like, wow, that is pretty amazing. And I thought to myself, maybe there's something to this. And we also raised the most amount of money we've ever raised for any of our nonprofit partners in our new little program. It was like $13,000. Like, wow, that's a lot of money. There's something to this. But at the end of it, I was like, people aren't going to want to do this again. This is February 2021. I'm like, this is probably going to be a one and done thing. Well, fast forward 2022, and I'm like, well, we're gonna do it again. And I had this idea to maybe have this corporate partner program thing, and maybe we should allow people to bike and swim and ski and do this other stuff, And so we expanded a little bit, and lo and behold, people signed up again, and it again was like our biggest event ever, and we like doubled the amount of money that we raised, largely due to our corporate partner program. But I was like, huh, people signed up again. Maybe there's definitely something to this thing. Well, year 3 was last year, 2023. And again, I thought, my goodness, nobody's going to sign up for this thing again. Like it's, 3 years in a row, people are kind of done with the whole virtual thing, and I couldn't believe it. So people signed up again. And not only that, we raised even more money for Homestretch. That last year we raised $32,000 for Homestretch, and we had more corporate partners. Well, I'll be honest with you, I started thinking about this, in the fall. So last fall, I started thinking about the Backyard BRRR, and I'm like, oh my, are people going to sign up again? And again, I thought to myself, nope, nobody's going to sign up again. This is going to be the last year. It's definitely going to be done. And I couldn't believe it. But not only did people sign up, but we grew by 35%. So this continues to be the single largest, biggest event that EX2 has ever produced in our 23-year history. So I say that just to give you insight of I think it's just amazing that it's doing what it's doing, and to say thank you, because like I say at all my in-person events, if nobody shows up, it's no fun, So without you all participating and getting involved and donating a Homestretch and getting your teams together, none of this would happen. And so I'm incredibly grateful for those of you who joined us for the first time this year, and those of you who joined us for the 4th time. And I hope you join us next year as well. So that's just a little context of the history of the BRRR. And again, thank you very much for participating and sticking with us. So I'm gonna share my screen. And let's see. And hopefully you guys can see. Tucker, give me a thumbs up if you might see my screen. Cool. All right. So if you're seeing my screen and you're also seeing a whole bunch of people, and it's kind of getting in the way, if you're not a Zoom expert, and I am certainly not a Zoom expert, but you can hit the little toggles on the top of your little gallery icon to show you more or less people, if it's blocking the screen. So I'm going to go over the summary of awesomeness, which is all the wonderful results that happen. So I'm going to have a quick couple thank yous, and I already started that, but I have a few more. I'm going to ask Barfons Baldwin, who's again the executive director of Homestretch, to say a few words. We'll talk about the swag very, very briefly. Hopefully that's arrived to all of you. Talk about corporate partnership, and then go into the results. All right, so thank you again. I told you the history. None of this would be possible without people participating. So I'm incredibly grateful for all your support. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I can't tell you how grateful I am, how much I know the folks at Homestretch are grateful for everyone's support, and how grateful I know that the people who participated with you, your teammates and things, are grateful for you. Maybe they got you involved. Maybe they got you out of bed one morning and say, "Hey, we're going for a run. You better show up," right? All that counts, right? And so I know that there's a lot of gratefulness to go around. Thank you for sharing your pictures and being engaged on social media. So I'm a Gen Xer, which means I was, born in that weird period where we had the internet for like part of our life. What that means is that I kind of feel awkward sometimes posting on social media. I'm like, what do I post? I don't know. And I kind of like force myself to post like way more than I do normally in like everyday life. And I know I'm not alone in that. So thank you very much for sharing your pictures. Thank you for posting pictures to run sign up. Thanks for posting them on all the social channels. It really does help people feel connected. And it's wonderful. So thank you for doing that. And in particular, thank you if you felt kind of uncomfortable about it, because maybe it's something you don't do often. I can relate, and thank you very much for doing that. Thank you for referring people. So we had people from 43 different states in DC and several different countries, and that doesn't happen without people sending emails or hitting people up on social media being like, hey, I'm doing this thing, will you do it with me? That is how news travels fast these days, and I am very grateful for everyone who took a moment to just kind of spread the word. It's really meaningful, so thank you for doing that. All right, so home stretch. So like I said, our nonprofit partnership started back in May of 2020. And it's been a wonderful partnership. Homestretch is an absolutely wonderful organization. I'm going to allow BRRR to tell you more about it. But I want to talk just a couple numbers, which I think are really wonderful. So our first year, we raised about $13,000 for Homestretch. And 2022 went up to around 26,000 with our introduction of our corporate partner program. In 2023, it went up to 32,000. This year, we're going to have a total donation all in of over $46,000, which I think is just absolutely amazing on so many different levels. And it is a 44% increase over last year, which is crazy to me. I'm going to say thank you a lot to our corporate partners in a minute, but a lot of that growth is driven to our corporate partnerships, and I'm very grateful for everyone. What's amazing to me about how these donations work is how little few dollar donations by many people can make a huge impact. And by that, I mean, we had over 550 people make individual donations. So some of those were a few dollars, some of them were a few $100s. But if you add up all that money together and add that with the funds that we got from our corporate partners, it makes a huge difference. So I am a true believer in social giving, like in a way, and I have to tell you, it's something that I didn't know too much about a few years ago. And every year that I learn more and more about it, I'm amazed at the power of small donations from a lot of different people. It really does add up. And as a testament to that, since May of 2020, the total funds raised through the Backyard BRRRR and then our in-person events is over $180,000 for Homestretch. And if you include all our nonprofit partners, it's approaching $250,000, which really blows my mind. And I'm well aware and extremely grateful that none of that would be possible without the generosity of the amazing people that we have inside our EX2 community. And so thank you to everyone who made a donation, whether it's $5 or $500. It really does add up, and it makes a huge difference. So thank you very much for that. All right, so BRRRR, I'm going to turn it over to you. And
Sure.
I would love you just to tell all the good folks some more about Homestretch, if you would.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Andy. Before I get started, I just want to acknowledge a couple of my colleagues have joined us tonight. And, it takes a village, right? Internally as well as our external stakeholders. So I just want to honor some of my colleagues from Homestretch who are joining us tonight. Andy, I just want to say a huge note of thanks and gratitude to you, Tucker. I see you. Another corporate partner, for all of our corporate partners that are with us on this call. Thank you for all that you've done. But Andy, I actually wrote these figures down because I didn't know the level of growth and impact, right? So not only are we spreading the word by getting partners and referrals involved, but we're going deeper in the relationship. I just had no idea that these numbers are really speaking volumes, not in terms of the financial growth, which is absolutely phenomenal, but also the depth of the engagement that we're doing on the community level to go from 13,000 to over 46,000 in just 3.5, 4 years is absolutely phenomenal. Our theme this year is transforming lives and building strong futures. And I just want to say to all of the registrants, to all of the participants, to all of the corporate sponsors, specifically to you, Andy, and your team over at EX2 Adventures, you're making that theme possible. We're doing the work, but you're coming alongside us in our mission-driven goal to transform lives and building strong futures. It takes a village. It takes partners like you to make this work possible. We started Homestretch in 1990. I'm a new kid on the block. Of course, I hadn't been with them that long. I just started August 1st. But they have been doing a phenomenal work for the last 34 years. The program entails about 2 to 3 years of transitional housing, but the housing just allows the homeless parent with children to be stabilized, right? So it's not about just providing a key to a home. We have comprehensive services that envelop this family so that they can change their trajectory and move toward permanent solutions that create a higher quality of life that's lasting and permanent. And so again, you make that possible. In terms of housing solutions, we also have transitional housing, which is about 2 to 3 years, and then they move on. Coupled with that, when they leave, we have workforce readiness development training, credit counseling, financial literacy. So while they may have been homeless, the parent and their children, when they leave, they're no longer on a subsidy. They don't have debt, or their debt has been sharply reduced. They have a savings account of, anywhere from $5,000 to $20,000. And then when they leave our home to satisfy their unit, their family unit on their own, they take all of the furniture that we supplied them with them, so that we can then rely on partners like you to help us stage the unit once again. So I just want to thank you personally for all that you've done, Tucker, for these last 4 years. And I'm just so grateful for this partnership. This was actually our first year creating a team of our own. Now, I don't know how much we did. I mean, we might have done just a couple of miles combined, but that's okay. We are stronger and more collaborative because of this exercise. Together we went out weekly. We did our walk. One of our colleagues, I call her our trusted tour guide. She would take us to parks and she would give us the history of the parks. It was just such a wonderful team building opportunity. And we owe a debt of gratitude for you, Andy, for making that happen. So again, to you, Andy, to you, Tucker, to all of your corporate partners, to the registrants and the participants, thank you so much for helping us as we transform lives and build strong futures. Thank you.
Barfons, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for being who you are, and to Nan and Julie and all the other folks in your team who are always so easy to work with and just so appreciative and grateful. And I will make a plug to everyone. If you're looking for some in-person volunteering, Homestretch always has really great opportunities. And so Julie Crane is their volunteer manager, and Nan Monday is the director of communications and development. And all those good folks can help match you up with the right volunteer opportunity. So I'll make a plug for that because it's a great opportunity to do some great stuff. All right, so swag. And so when one of the challenges that this event posed the first year, when 1,000 people signed up, was, holy cow, how am I going to ship 1,000 packages? I had zero clue how to do that. And thank God for the internet, right? You figure it out and you just kind of do the best you can. Well, we pulled it off, and every year it's gotten a little bit easier. But I will tell you, so for in-person events, I have a team of amazing people who help me execute the event, and they're EX2 staff, and some of them have been working with us for 15 years. Well, it's become part of our annual thing where everybody comes over to my house and I prep everything, and we basically just power through packing up all these packages, and we're getting pretty good at it every single year. And we were I think around 1,100, maybe 1,200, about 1,100 packages packed up in over a day. And I bring them all to the post office and I dump them in this like massive bin, and I look at them, I'm like, there's no chance these are all going to go and get where they're going. But amazingly, again, thank goodness for the post office, like they just show up. And so I'm constantly amazed. Something I do once a year, every year it amazes me. So I want to say thank you to my team who helped make all the magic happen with the shipping. If someone did not get what they asked for or it never got to you or what have you, please just send me an email. Things do get lost and damaged in transition and things like that. So please let me know. Corporate partners. So I wanted to say a couple of things more about the corporate partners that we have. So again, this program started 3 years ago. And the first person to come on board was a friend of mine, Tucker Newberry, who was working at NT Concepts. And Darren Powers, who was the CEO at the time, said, yes, we'll get involved. And they were the first company to sign on. My buddy Matt Pinkham, who runs a company called Objective out of Charlottesville, said, yep, I'll get involved. Excella, who's a strong supporter of Homestretch over the years, and a few others. But I figured there was something magical about getting corporate partnership, and really for two reasons. One is it was my hope that we'd be really be able to amplify the amount of money that we would raise. The second thing was, well, you know, I always had fun in the challenge, and I know people who participated had fun. And so I figured, you know, maybe companies who have a bunch of employees or not, you know, some employees would want to do this as some sort of like a corporate wellness program or team building activity. And it's really taken off. And this year, I think we went from 5 corporate partners to 10 corporate partners. 61% of all the money that was donated, so over $25,000 came from our corporate partners. And I want to especially recognize NT Concepts because of that 25,870, over 10,000 of it came from NT Concepts, their employees, and the employer match of their employee donations. And so I'm very, very grateful to Tucker and the leadership at NT Concepts for really leading the way from the very beginning for our corporate partner program. I also want to recognize Darren Powers from ABSC. When he moved over to ABSC, he's said, yep, I'm still going to get involved. And they had several teams. And there's always a great little corporate competition between the NT teams and the ABSC teams, which I always have fun watching. So thank you. I also want to welcome all our new partners, Fairfax Neonatal Associates, so Ed Moe led the charge in getting them involved. Our friends from Sheehy, Vince Sheehy is a great supporter of grassroots racing, has been a supporter of ours for a while now. My friends from Excella, Mabomo, Black Cape, Acclaim Technical Services, and Veros. I'm really, really grateful for all your support. And I hope everyone had a good time. So thank you very much. I'll plug these companies. Everybody's looking, a lot of these are tech companies. So if you work in technology or you're looking for a new car, you should call, or you know, you have a child issue, you should look at these organizations. They're all wonderful. All right. Quick thank you to 2 people in particular and 2 organizations that have been involved with EX2 forever. One is Eric Scudder from IFP Financial, and the other one is Joey Baird from Baird Automotive. If you've been to our in-person races, these 2 gentlemen are staples at our events. Eric brings coffee in the spring and the fall. Joey is there and sponsors our $100 giveaway, which we do at the end of all our in-person races. And we're going to do that at the end of this session today too. I'm very grateful. The great thing that Joey and Eric did for this challenge is they funded the teams from Homestretch. And so I'm very grateful for Eric and Joey's support of not only the X2 and the backyard BRRR, but also allowing and supporting the teams at home stretch to participate. So thank you, Joey and Eric. All right, so here you go. Big picture results. 1,344 was the final count, and the age range is 5 to 82. So I believe we had 4 people over the age of 80. We had about, I think, 15 people under 10 or so, including my 10-year-old daughter Emily, who went outside with me every day in the month of January. 43 states, which is a new record, plus a few countries, Luxembourg, a few over in Great Britain, somebody in Georgia, actually. 185 teams, which is another record. 154,000 total miles. And of those, about 37% were outside, which is fantastic. That's a lot of miles outside in January. That correlated into over 31,000 different non-push-ups, so not counting the push-up activities, 31,000 different activities. That's somebody doing something active, whether it's a walk, a ski, a run, a bike, whatever, in the month of January. And almost 50% of those activities were done outside. Huge numbers of push-ups, so 168,000 push-ups. I'll tell you about my friend June Lee here in a little bit, but he, of course, led the push-up contest yet again, doing ungodly amount of push-ups. 183 people recorded 31 outside activities, and 541 people recorded 31 outside miles. Now, remember, one of the goals of this challenge, from always and from the very beginning, was to encourage people to get outside in the month of January, when it's sometimes very easy to stay in the comfort of your home, and walk on the treadmill or ride on the trainer or whatever. Magical things happen when you go outside. I'm a true believer of that. Even if it's really cold or snowy, magical things happen. So part of this challenge is to encourage folks to get outside. Now, big picture wise, total number of miles, huge numbers. So cycling, not surprising, it was the most number of miles, over 70,000 miles. About 46% of those were the total. And in terms of inside versus outside, a lot of them were inside miles that you wouldn't be surprised about, but we did have some people putting up huge outside rides. About 40,000 running miles. That was about 26% of the total, and more than half were outside, and probably not surprising. Walking, again, huge numbers, almost 38,000 or 37,000 miles. And then more than half of those were outside, which again, probably wouldn't surprise anybody. 1,200 swimming miles, 1,700 rowing or paddling miles, and about 3,800 skiing miles. So all sorts of activities happening in the month of January. All right, so one of the fun things, so I'm going to go through the results. One thing I want to point out to you, so the way I do the results, every Friday I send out our the results emails, and some of those results are available on Run Sign Up. And so just want to show you, so it is possible to sort the different fields. So if I want to sort, it's by default, it's total distance. But if I was curious about who had the most running miles, you can click it twice and it'll sort overall. Now, this won't tell you who's outside versus who's inside, but you can do that for all the different fields. You can also go into the team results. Again, this is not going to tell you inside versus outside, but it will show you all the team total tallies. And then if you click inside that, you can actually see the team members and what miles each one of those team members were putting up. Some of it was really, really super impressive. Now, one other thing I want to show you is just a little insight into how I calculate these things. And so basically, I get 2 files out of Run Sign Up, and I get one of all the activities, and one is just a dump of all the sort of the overall information, like Andy did X number of total miles. Some of it is really easy to calculate, but a lot of it I have to just pull into a bunch of different pivot tables and do not necessarily manual calculations. There's a little bit of manual activities, but a lot of this stuff is just pulling it in and including or excluding certain activities. I do have a flag to say whether it's inside or outside. And as a part of the results that I'm going to send out, I'm going to put a whole bunch of this information. So for example, all the individual miles I can't put like a pivot table up on Google Sheets, but I'll be able to put a lot of the information. So if you're curious, looking like at a little bit deeper level, at all the data, I'm going to put as much as I can up in the Google Sheets with the results. So if you're curious, going a little bit deeper, you'll be able to see that. All right, so let's go more into the results and talk about how awesome everybody was. All right, so overall finishers, Izzy came in first for the ladies, 1,700 miles. So congratulations, Izzy, well done. And our friend Jason Lilly came out on top overall and with the men. So this is a picture of Jason and a picture of Laura, who had the most running outside miles. So I called Jason probably about a couple weeks ago, just to check in. He's done the event several times, and I know he takes it seriously. And I was looking at his miles tick up. I'm like, Jason, how on earth are you doing all this stuff? Well, he's always been a great runner and an ultra and distance runner, but he was gunning for the overall bike miles this time too. And just for this challenge, he went out and bought a stationary bike and rode all the time. And so if you were wondering how the heck did Jason muster all these different miles and do all these things, you can just have a mental picture of him, working on his little desk, spinning his legs for hours and hours and hours a day. So congratulations to Jason and Izzy. Overall, top male, top female in total number of miles. Outside miles. So Randy came in first for the ladies, and Kevin, who's out in Colorado, won overall for the men with the outside miles. So 1,200 outside miles for Kevin, 755 outside miles for Randy. The running, there was some competition going on for the running, for sure. Jason Lilly came out on top again for running miles overall, both inside and outside. And then Shrita Fields, who's been doing our events for quite some time, just crushed the overall miles for the women with 416 miles, which is an awful lot. And again, that's inside and outside. For outside running miles, Doug Martin came in first for the men with 328, and Miss Laura Berlin, who incidentally ran a 50K on the WND the last day of the challenge, topped the ladies for outside miles with an amazing 355 total outside miles. So way to go, Doug and Laura. Walking, inside and outside, Karen and James came out on top in both categories. So Karen led the way, and I think I might have flipped these numbers a little bit in terms of total outside inside. But again, Karen and James both came on top for walking inside and outside. So congratulations to both of you. Biking. So Izzy came on top in biking. Again, this is inside and outside. And Benjamin Parrish, who's on one of the corporate teams, topped the overall biking total with over 2,000 biking miles in the month of January. And if you put that in a calculator for 30 days, that's a lot of miles to get up that high. So congratulations to both of you. Biking outside. So Kevin, again, out in Colorado, put in almost 1,000 outside miles, and Randy put in 565 outside miles. So congratulations to Randy. And this is a photo of Randy. The other photo is of Mike Pease. So Mike Pease led the rowing category with 431 miles, and Sarah Pease led the women with 123 rowing miles. And again, put that in the calculator. That's a lot of rowing in the month of January. Swimming. So Lynn topped the ladies with swimming with 58 miles. And Sandy McRae topped the men. I want to show you something in the results here real quick, just because I know this is was something that the folks on these teams were tracking. So if I do just swimming, I'm going to switch this to all miles. I just want to point out, so this is the difference between the top two gentlemen in the swimming competition. So Sandy had 67.848 miles, and Jason Davidson had 67.687. That translates to about 250 meters difference between those two folks. And I know very well that they were keeping an eye on what they were doing. So that's a lot of swimming, and congratulations to both Sandy and Jason and Lynn for absolutely crushing and doing a lot of swimming miles. But I just want to point out how close it was at the very end. Skiing, Aaron Smith topped the ladies with almost 230 miles of skiing. Kevin, also out in Colorado, probably skied some great stuff in Colorado, 170 skiing miles. Push-ups, Miss Jill Carey, who I believe won last year as well, 6,300 push-ups for Jill and over 16,000 for June. Either one of those numbers, put them in a calculator and see how much that is every day. That's a lot. The first couple of years, folks were like, who is this June person and how is he doing so many push-ups? He's legit and he does quite a lot. And so congratulations to Jill and June again for defending your titles on the push-ups. All right, teams. So every year, this is always fun to watch and see how the totals are going to come out at the team totals. But Booking It in 2024 came out on top. Over 5,000 miles. So congratulations. They absolutely crushed it, were consistent, and just kept on trucking. And they were able to pull out the overall win. So congratulations. The ODDC, the Old Dude Dirt Clan #1, came out on top for total outside miles, which if you ask them, they told you that's the most important category. So congratulations to Brad and other folks on that team. 2,600 outside miles. Running, Soul Sisters #1, who are veterans in the Backyard BRRR competition. That's one of their photos to the right. Congratulations to you all again. Thanks again for participating, and well done. You all won the running competition. Walking, Clifton Cycling Chicks won the walking competition. Not only were they really incredible walkers as a team, but they also put in tremendous amount of cycling miles as well. So if you're curious and looking at how the overall results came out, they were in the tops of many of those categories. Excuse me, not only running, walking, but cycling both inside and outside. So congratulations to the Clifton Cycling Chicks. Biking, again, took the overall, Booking It in 2024, 4,200 cycling miles. Swimming, Stinky Old Guys and Beautiful Mermaids, one of my favorite team names ever, took the swimming title, 306 miles. Chill Folk took the paddling rowing competition, 437 miles. Skiing, License to Chill, 229 miles. And then push-ups, not a shock. It's whoever team that June is on is going to win that competition, 17,300 miles for NT Concepts #1. So congratulations. Corporate teams. So this is always, again, fun to watch. There is a little competition going on between the NT Concepts team and the ABSC teams in particular. So ABSC won, which I know that Darren's on that team. They came away with the overall corporate win this year with over 2,500 miles. And Mr. Newberry's team, Tucker, was on NT Concepts 3. They won the overall corporate finish for outside miles with 765 miles. So congratulations again to NT Concepts and ABSC, and thanks again for your support. I hope you all had a ton of fun. All right, so what's the prize? So I've given out various things, and I will most of the time it's like, what can I give someone for just like totally monopolizing their month of January, right? Because the folks who win all these categories, they all sort of take it seriously, right? And I think everybody takes it, I think, maybe a little bit seriously, but so I try to think of something that useful, so I've given out silly pints before, which I kind of want people to remember every time they take a drink out of it or whatever. Well, the story behind these coolers is, so my wife Kelly is a real estate agent, and she gives out some gifts to her clients or whatever every year. And one thing that she has given out over years is something that we use in our house all the time, and it's this cooler. So I've given out coolers in the past, maybe a couple years ago, and the only reason I didn't give out this one is at the time I couldn't get it. So I tried again this year, and I got a whole bunch of them. So everybody who on the team that won a category overall, I'm going to mail you one of these coolers, probably starting the end of next week. So you'll get an email notification and you're going to get one. And I hope you enjoy it. I hope this summer, you know, when you're at Wolf Trap or out at a show or whatever, and you stick something in it and you look at it and you remember all the time and effort you put in January. So that's what the prize is going to be. A fancy EX2 branded cooler. I hope you enjoy it and use it well. All right, so the BRRR is going to return in 2024. We are, so I'm gonna try to think about swag and other things to do, and you all can help me with that. So tomorrow I'm gonna send out all the results. I'll send out a link to this deck. I'll send out a link to the Google Sheets, which again is going to have a whole bunch of different information in it. So if you want to kind of geek out and look at it, you're more than welcome to do that. But I'm also going to send out a survey. And in that survey, it's going to ask all sorts of questions. Because I like to tinker with things and always try to think about ways to improve how we're doing. So while it's fresh in your mind, when you get that email from me, click on that survey link. It's just going to take you to a Google Doc, and then spend just like 5 minutes thinking about what you liked, what you didn't like. Were there times in the month where you're like, oh, I wish I could do something different or whatever? I would be really, really appreciative because I take the survey results for all our events very, very seriously, and I always learn something. And so please just take a couple minutes to do that. I'd be incredibly, incredibly grateful. I have 2 more things to do. One of which is I'm going to pick a winner for a $100 prize. And so you have to be here to win. And I'm going to do that in just a second. I also have one more photo prize, which I have not given out yet. And that's going to be announced tomorrow. And this is the team photo prize. And you might ask, why didn't you have it ready tonight, Andy? And I just ran out of time. So I will be picking the best. It was the friends, teammates, family, furry or otherwise category tomorrow. And then when you get that email from me with the link, I will have the winners in that, along with what the wonderful prize is, and a thank you. So $100. So you can't see, maybe you can see what I can see. You see, everybody is sort of listed on the screen here, and I need help from one person. So Debbie, I can see you. What I want you, Debbie Huffnagel, what I want you to do is hold up either a number 1 or a number 2. That's all you got to do. So number 2. Okay. So Debbie has chosen. I'm gonna flip my screen to the second page of little boxes that I see. I'm gonna close my eyes. I'm gonna point to somebody on the screen, and if I'm pointing to you, you are gonna win $100 courtesy of BRRRR Automotive. And that person is not a that's a phone. I can't do that. Let me pick again. Let's see. Kevin Morris. Kevin Morris. I don't know if you can hear me, but congratulations, Kevin. Kevin, you are going to get not a $100 bill, because although I do trust the post office because I sent like a lot of packages, but I'm going to send you a check for $100, and I want you to do something super fun with it.
Sure.
And that is all courtesy of our good friend Joey Barry from BRRRR Automotive.
Thank you very much, Andy. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thanks for participating, and thanks for coming tonight. See, you come, you get
course.
$100. Like, hey, what could be wrong?
Can't beat it.
Yeah. One more plug for one more additional thing in that email I'm going to send you tomorrow. There'll be a last chance to enter to win a couple gift cards from Eric Scudder. So just read that email, and I'll try to make it as succinct as possible of what you got to do. But I'd be really grateful if you did the survey in particular, and let me know what you thought with. And if you have any ideas on how to improve things, I would be super, super grateful. So cheers, everybody. Congratulations on all the wonderful things that you did in the month of January. Keep on being good to each other, and keep on getting outside and being active and being healthy. And if you're in the DC area, you should come see us at one of our events. We start the Backyard Burns in less than a month. So thank you all. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the week. And I'm very grateful for everyone's support and love and involvement. It really does make a huge difference. So thanks.
Thank you, Andy.
You're welcome. See you, everybody. Thanks again for coming. Appreciate it.
Good night, everybody from California.
See ya. Thanks, Joel.
Bye, everybody.
See ya. Hey, Brian, nice eye patch.
You like it? I'm rocking the pirate.
I love it.
2 more weeks.
4 weeks. Good for you, man. Hang in there.
I will. I'll see you Tuesday at Bike Pro.
Yes, I'll be there next week. Yep. That's
All right.
thanks for setting that up. Jason, you're
Sure.
awesome, my friend. Jason, Lily, thank you for everything, my friend.
Thanks, Andy. I appreciate it. Hey, do you want to see a quick overview of this setup in here?
Oh, I'd love to. Yeah. Sure.
Okay, hold on a sec.
Yeah.
I'm curious.
Yeah. Show me what you got. Jason.
See how this works. So there's the stationary bike here. So this is my standing desk setup. Oh, so I've got a 70-inch monitor here, and
7-0?
yeah.
Oh wow.
So I use this as my work computer monitor as far as working at home, and it's my space in here. So,
Right.
and I've got, well, there's laundry on it now, but I've got my under desk treadmill factor.
Yeah.
So I can switch out the stationary bike and the treadmill depending on what I'm doing. So,
That's
so
awesome.
that's the setup.
That's awesome. Very impressive, my friend, and I appreciate the commitment to getting a stationary bike for this challenge.
Oh man, Derek and I both got sniped by Ben Parrish right there at the end.
I know. Well, you know, I'm sure he was keeping an eye on things going.
Yeah, he did the tactical, I'm not going to post my miles until the last day thing.
Yeah. It's tough.
Strategy.
This is some strategy. Thanks.
Yeah.
I appreciate it, man, very much. And thanks for being a part of it again. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome, Andy. I'll see you soon.
All right. Take good care, everybody. We'll see you. Thanks.